welcome everyone to Jam Jar, another session of Jam Jar. Month's just gone just like that. Well, we've got some a very special guest in our studio today. And this time you get to see him in the flesh, as it were, or live, because the last time we did a program with this particular gentleman was going back, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago.
Indeed, yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Just steam radio.
So I'll bring you in briefly before I do that, I'll bring you in a minute. I'll just start off with our song that we do for Jam Jar, which the listeners or the viewers always say, what's he going to do with it this time? So here we go. So here I'm going to do it in a major 7th chord today. So it's going to go Jam Jar, Jam Jar. Everyone listens to Jam Jar. Jam Jar, Jam Jar. Everyone listen to Jam Jar. Gonna jump and shout, we're gonna talk it out and find out what it's all about with Jam Jar, Jam Jar, yeah. Talking Jam Jar, Jam Jar, yeah. Ooh, Jam Jar, Jam Jar. Everyone talking about Jam Jar. Spread it around. Yeah, Jam Jar. Yeah, there you have it. We've got a special guest in the studio with us today, Mr. Miles Ray, a long-time friend of mine and an amazing musician. And we're lucky to have him with us to share the program with us today and talk about his all the groups he's been in and what he's done music-wise and things. So welcome to the program, Miles.
Thank you, Stefan. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the short notice. We were to have some other people coming through, but I'm not sure what happened there. There was a little bit of a mix-up. But, yeah, great to have you on board. And we're going to find out all sorts of things about it. The questions won't be too difficult, but we haven't had a run through. Isn't that right, Miles? This is basically off the cuff. This one,
completely unrehearsed.
Completely unrehearsed. Yeah. Well, let's go back to the beginning because I know you've been involved with the music industry for quite a long while, and let's go back. And we don't want to sort of hear too much about the beginning, but enough. Some would be good. So you obviously. Were interested in music at an early age?
Yes. Funny thing was, I must have been 8 or 9. I grew up in Greymouth on the west coast of the South Island, for anybody who doesn't know where that is. And we belonged to a library. It was a strange library. It was a pay library where you go and borrow a book and you have to pay the man some money. And the library books used to be issued with a paper cover with a rubber band round it to hold it on.
Oh, yeah.
And one day, Mum found me in my bedroom strumming along with the rubber band on this library book, and she thought, this boy looks like he might have some musical talent.
That's so good.
So she bought me a ukulele, and unfortunately that ukulele was stolen out of a car when we went to see a rugby match in Dunedin in the early 50s. But anyway, I decided I'd try and make a ukulele out of 3-ply, and that didn't work anyway. But when I went to secondary school, I wanted to join the Model Aeroplane Club, but Mum said, no, you're going to join the school orchestra. So I joined the school orchestra, and I was taught to play the violin.
Yeah.
And I was also taught by the same teacher piano, so I had a bit of classical grounding in that. And in the meantime, we're looking at mid-50s, it was right on the cusp of the rock and roll revolution, and I was listening at home to my radio, listening to Chuck Berry and Buddy Holly and was Everly Brothers. And sat in my bedroom, no TV to distract me, sat in my bedroom every night, learnt to play the guitar, taught myself to play the guitar because there's no books and no TV to watch people doing it, so I taught myself to play the guitar. And it went from there to school skiffle group, playing a THS bass.
Yeah.
And our skiffle group was mainly senior students, so every year one or two would leave. So the washboard players and the THS bass players got promoted to playing guitars. So that group lasted about 4 years while I was at school. And so many musicians all over the world started off in that grounding. I don't know how much further you want to go, Stefan, but...
yeah, no, but I think you probably, and just listening to when you're talking, very similar for me, myself as well, musical film. Mother played piano, so of course I had to play piano, and the dad played guitar, and so it was one of those things. Although I quickly tended to go towards the electric types of electric guitars and the bands that were playing at the time, I definitely thought that sounded more exciting than doing piano recitals. Anyway, yeah. So early in those days, was there a music scene happening in those days down that way or not? Was there?
No, not in Greymouth. Greymouth, pretty small town, only 8,000 people. Very strong, Savage Club. Me and my friend Mike Bruce, who I used to sing a lot with, we appeared with the Savage Club. There's a lot of unpaid work around it, of course, but we were doing it just to get exposure. The dancers, like we're talking early 50s, the dancers were dance bands like piano, Rennie Jacobs Orchestra,
right.
Piano and drums, piano, bass and drums, or the Ramblers who had a saxophone, piano and things like that. So, I actually started playing rock and roll by sort of talking myself into the Ramblers, asked if I could sit in and play guitar. And being quite a big group, it meant that at Christmas time when we got a lot of gigs, we split into two groups, so that was quite good. And I got my grounding in playing in dances and that sort of music. And then after that I went to Canterbury University and met up with some guys who from Christchurch and from Oamaru, Timaru, who had like interest, mainly shadows in those days, and very good guitarist from Timaru, Neil Pickard, and we formed a band, and the lead vocalist was Lloyd Scott, the very famous
Lloyd Scott.
Lloyd Scott, and we formed a band. Of course, we called it the Undergrads. It seemed to be quite an apt name. And we played for a year or so, playing for this a lot of university dancers, training college, nurses, all sorts of people, and there was
they were good
band and good little learner, and also got involved with the folk music club, and that got me onto contacts with Hamilton County, led me into Hamilton County, into a bluegrass band in Christchurch, and then into Hamilton County.
Well, that would be probably, although you've played with a lot of groups since Hamilton, but I would say that's probably the group that you're probably best well known for, as far as what you did with that group, especially going overseas and representing. Well, you weren't representing, but you were playing as a New Zealand group at Grand Ole Opry, was it?
Yeah, one of the few New Zealand musicians playing the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, so that must have been a pretty amazing thing to do.
It was the original old Ryman Auditorium, not the modern sort of Opry land. It was the original old building with a Confederate gallery.
A real McCoy,
mate. And we played for Bill Monroe's segment. Each segments in the Grand Ole Opry are sponsored by different companies like Bill's Buckwheat and Fred's Rye Whiskey and Jimmy's Rice, and we were on Bill Monroe's segment.
Right.
And Marty Robbins was there, Jenny Seeley, all quite well-known artists.
Yeah.
So that was a real buzz, and we also played at some bluegrass festivals in the States.
Yeah, and I think at the time you were definitely well liked in New Zealand, and I think probably you were. People loved the band. It was a good, not only was it bluegrass, but it was good time bluegrass. It was such a place that people could get up and jive around and leap around, and it had almost an infectious feel to it, you know. Hey.
Well, we had a built-in square dance band as well. I mean, as you say, we played at festival, and then we'd do the music for a square dance afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. Couldn't go wrong, really. Eh?
No.
Well, I think we might play the first track now of the Hamilton Bluegrass County, and I believe that this particular track was at a festival called the Monarco Folk Festival. Yes?
Monaro.
Monaro.
There's in Holden, Monaro.
Monaro Folk Festival in Canberra.
Yeah.
1973.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure the name of the first track, but we're going to play it anyway.
It's called Like a Train.
Like a Train.
Yep.
Here we go, coming up. So, Hamilton Bluegrass with Like a Train.
I was a roamer, Lord, I didn't care where my next home was, I knew not where. I had no one, Lord, to call me friend, so I'll not pass this way again. Like a train that's coming down the railroad, like a train that's coming down the track, I'm leaving you to find my destination. I'm leaving you, I ain't never coming back. Sweetheart in El Paso, where she ran off to, I'll never know. She went and left me for someone else. She left me here all to myself. Like a train that's coming down the railroad, like a train that's coming down the track, I'm leaving you to find my destination. I'm leaving you, I ain't never coming back. I lay here thinking about where to go. What I'll run into, I'll never know. There's nothing for me in this old town. Maybe someday I'll settle down. Like a train that's coming down the railroad, like a train that's coming down the track, I'm leaving you to find my destination. I'm leaving you, I ain't never coming back. I'm leaving you, I ain't never coming back.
Whoa. There you have it, mate. That's a great track, and that's, as you say, live as well.
Yes. The band had been touring with Slim Dusty, right, a major tour from Sydney right through to Western Australia, Darwin, across to Cape York to North Queensland, right down Queensland coast, in northern New South Wales. We're on the road for 3 months playing 6 nights a week.
That's like
we had a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And we were asked to go to the Monaro Folk Festival. We're guest artists there, and EMI happened to have all their recording equipment there, and recorded it live, but that was never put out as an album or anything. It was just recorded, put in the archives, and it suddenly surfaced about 5 years ago.
Wow. So that's quite a rare recording, really,
it certainly is, yes. And
wow.
One day I hope to distribute some copies just to the band, but I don't think it'll ever come out commercially. But yes, it's just something that surfaced after a long time.
Yeah, it's good when that sort of things happen. It's happened to me a couple of times with different songs I've done earlier on. I've surfaced through some miraculous, I don't know where it's been, someone's recorded it, you know.
Tidying up all their old tapes or something.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk a little bit, touch on the fact that when you did go to university, of course, Victoria University.
Canterbury.
Canterbury, okay.
Yep.
And of course, your passion was geology, and you actually studied, and that's what you actually became a geologist.
Yeah.
Working with the DSIR at the time, I think.
That's right, in Lower Hutt, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. That's because that's a subject that really fascinates me anyway, because it's quite, you're the only other guy I've ever met that had a music and geology as a passion. So and I'm saying they must go hand in hand. I think it's to do with the rocks.
Yeah. You think it'd be more common seeing it's been involved in rock in two meanings.
Yeah, exactly.
When I first went to university, I had a degree in a geography major, and I got more and more interested in geology, and my parents were very interested in collecting rocks, like going down the beach and getting green stone.
Yeah.
And they used to tumble rocks and make little stone animals, things like that. And I got quite interested in the actual, why is the certain rock here, or why is this terrace here, how it was formed, and so on. So after Hamilton County broke up, I decided, well, I'll do what I really want to do now. Well, another thing I really want to do. So I went back to Canterbury University and did a geology degree. Yeah. And I did a lot of my master's thesis was on rocks in the Clarence Valley, which is between the two Kaikoura Ranges, between the Seaward and the inland Kaikoura Ranges. And there's some very interesting rocks in there. Very remote, very hard to get into. Yeah. And I did my thesis on that. Then I could not quite finish. I was offered the job at the DSIR Geological Survey in Lower Hutt. Yeah. And I finished wrote up my thesis my first couple of months there. And then I said to the boss one day, maybe I could do a bit more down there. And they said, oh, fine, yeah, okay. So I spent that first summer down in the Clarence Valley and continued my work there, and it was eventually published as a full colour 50,000 map with a book accompanying it. Yeah. And then I got involved in helping other people, the other geologists working all over the place. But it was really fascinating.
Boy, it must have been amazing to be able to do what you actually carry out. You know, when you're a kid, you think I want to be this and be that, but actually end up doing what you want to do. It's like
and I think one of the highlights of my career there was that I was digging around in the Clarence Valley and found these fossils. They looked like big fat oysters, and it turned out they were a new species, never been discovered before.
Oh, wow.
So it was named after me, Rhine Trigonia, Terra Trigonia Rayi. So I was thrilled with that. It's better than being named after a snail or something like that.
Exactly, a bit more up the scale. So that whole area uplifted, obviously, seabed. Been through probably an up and down a few times, has it?
Yes, well, when you look at geology in the broader sense, it's quite frightening when you think that the rocks now that formed Mount Cook are thousands of metres above the sea. So there's been a lot going on over a long period of time, and it's a natural process, and the human beings have just got to live with it, really.
That's right,
when you look at Kaikoura, which I worked around a lot, the recent earthquake uplifted the foreshore out of the sea to about 3 metres. So it's happening all the time.
Ongoing process of...
and I also worked with a friend who worked on the Alpine Fault on the west coast, which is the major fault that essentially separates New Zealand from Australia geologically. The west coast in Nelson, west of the Alpine Fault, are actually part of Australia. Hope that's not going to offend anybody here.
Yeah.
And Canterbury and everything, Otago South and where we are here is essentially, it's east of the Alpine Fault and it's part of the Pacific Plate.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you've probably heard before that New Zealand sits on a plate boundary. And
That's right.
Also one of the reasons why we get a lot of earthquakes.
Earthquakes, yeah. And we get it, yeah.
Yeah. And when I had a friend who was doing a PhD on the Alpine Fault, and he worked out that it last moved in 1760 or something like that. Very, very cunningly worked out by the fact that there'd been a landslide that had gone across the fault, and there were trees bearing in the landslide, and we went into this trench with a chainsaw and cut slices out of these trees, and they were ring dated to 1760.
Amazing. Yeah, and then
that tied that into
the all tied it in, yeah.
Yeah. The fault caused a slip, and the trees were in the slip.
Wow.
So that's how they worked out when
It's
it
a
moved.
dating machine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. One other dating machine.
I love it. I just love it.
Yeah.
So you don't get out so much anymore. You're still interested, I guess. But
I'm still interested, but to be perfectly honest, Steph, there's not a lot to look at around here. I mean, there's a lot of greywacke up in the hills, up the Rimatakas and Tararuas. We've got limestones and siltstones and sandstones around further over the east.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I guess it perhaps a phase of my life that's also left behind me. And I'm still interested, but not really actively.
No.
Although the funny thing is, with the internet and how everybody gets involved, after I'd left the DSIR, quite a while afterwards, a chap who still works for the Geological Survey wrote a paper on some ore fossils in the Crowns Valley, because I'd done a lot of the work.
Yeah.
He included me as a co-author. So my name got back in the geological community, and now I get emails from people, would you be interested in a job in paleobiology at the University of Texas? Things like this.
I know. Didn't take much, they're on to you.
So I think that's quite funny, really.
Yeah.
Just because my name's out there as a co-author of the paper, people think I'm still working in the field, and I'm not.
We might play another track. We've got a track lined up. It is Hamilton Bluegrass County again. Track number 14. I'm just trying to think. I'm not sure.
Hopefully
it might be.
Hopefully it should be Muleskinner Blues.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few songs I did with Hamilton County as a soloist. So I'm only singing high tenor, but I think if it's the right track, it's one that I actually sang lead on.
All right, we'll give it a crack. So here we hopefully Muleskinner Blues.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's definitely, we know it's the Hamilton Bluegrass.
Oh, definitely.
Enjoy.
Definitely.
All right, coming right up.
We'd like to feature Marlo in a tune called the Muleskinner Blues. Come on with your tonsils, boy.
Good luck, man.
Another mule skinner down on a new mud run.
Wow, is that great or what? Apart from the odd glitch there and then, but still pretty good. Love it. Yeah, so when about, so how long ago is that?
1973. Yeah.
It's going back a bit more.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem that long ago, but it is.
Right. And now you're obviously you're still playing as a musician, which is great. There's a local scene here where you and I have been both involved in different groups together, so I've had that privilege of playing along with and the Rockefellers, of course, and the
Eagle riding
mummy papas, or whatever we called ourselves.
And the Dodge Brothers.
The Dodge Brothers. There's been a few. I'll tell you what, we had some great times.
Yeah, yes.
And to all the other musicians, that when we got together, we definitely made it happen. And I've got a couple of tracks coming up soon. Let me see, they're from, what are they now? There's one called Kathmandu and one called Move It. That'll be the Dodge Brothers, won't it?
Yes, yeah.
But we won't play them yet. I just want you to talk a little bit about what you're doing at the moment musically. What groups are you playing with? What's happening there?
Well, I guess my main band is the Veranda Band, which started, it's the present lineup's sort of 14 years, so it's quite long-lived for a local band. Veranda Band started about 15 years ago. I wasn't the first bass player. I joined when Rick Lang left. So originally there was Mick Ludden on percussion, Rob Macklin on keyboard and guitar, Steve Trotman on guitar and vocals. I played bass, and then we played at the Lounge Bar a lot, and then we were in a situation where it was suggested we need to sort of play a bit more up-tempo music to get more dancey type gigs. So we got Alistair Barron on lead guitar. And then we had a slight rearrangement. A couple of guys left, and got Paddy Edison, the fabulous Paddy Edison on the drums. And that was the sort of middle period Veranda Band. And now we have Roger Gordon-Wiles on drums, and Roger is a very, very experienced drummer, originally from Auckland with the Gremlins. Had number 2 hit with the coming generation. So at the moment we're down to 4-piece, still doing dances, vineyard gig, bits and pieces, not as much work around as there used to be, but as you know, Steph, things are in a constant flux. Venues come and go, so you've really got to try and keep on top of it.
Basically, no, it's a lot different to what it was. I say the early days. What I mean is in the 70s and 80s, when there was a lot of clubs and pubs and there was a lot of work. And you can go on tour. I mean, we were continually on tour at one stage, just touring around playing gigs. But yeah, you're right. Now it's a different type of smaller bands. Not so much, especially if you're in cafes and restaurants. They don't have the big rigs and the big bands and the lighting, all that sort of thing so much now. More for concerts. But yeah, then you and I, of course, have played together quite a bit, even just the two of us, and it's been great.
Yes, recently we did Round the Vines, of course.
Right. Yeah.
Entertained the runners as they went past it. At one of the vineyards. Another band that I'm involved in is Gypsy Jam, which is a gypsy jazz trio. That's Stefan Schultz and Stephen Judd and myself. I'm playing upright bass on that. So we get a wee bit of work with that lineup too. Completely different to the rest of the bands. We do jazz festivals and a few private gigs. And apart from that, I've got myself into the country music scene a bit, just playing hokanui sometimes, and I used to be at the Rumataka Music Group based down in Messinesborough and Featherston, but that's no longer with us. So playing with you now and then, and Bob and Kate. I was with them early on with you.
We'll come to that. We'll play a couple of tracks.
Yeah, I still play with them sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's mix and matched to a certain extent.
Yeah, no, it's good about it. What I find, the music's quite a good, for want of a better word, therapy, if you like, escape. As long as I'm playing music and can play and remember, obviously I'll have a total memory loss on lyrics sometimes, just not there. but generally, speaking I think it's probably a good thing for, as you get on a bit, to be able to play, not only for the dexterity and fingers and stuff like that, but for it's a good mental stimulus. I think it's a good way to go myself.
You probably find as I do, like the songs I learned in the 60s, I can still remember.
Absolutely.
Without thinking about
everything. Standing on my head, do it.
But the more modern ones are more of a challenge. I can do it, but I really have to sit down.
I'm the same. I'm going to really think about
it. And I get there sooner or later, but it takes a bit longer.
I'm just thinking the other day about the whole early stuff. A lot of it was what they call triad, 3-chord triad type, then the relative minor. Maybe another minor thrown in for good measure. But some of the stuff they're coming up with now is it's either very basic, no more than 2 chords, or it's got a lot of chords in it, and it's very busy, and and I tend to shy away from it myself. I like the jazz more, the jazz swing blues stuff, or good country stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think you, Stefan, with your expertise on chords, if it's too hard for you, it'd be pretty hard for anybody else.
Exactly. I'm thinking of some guys saying that's not how it goes. I said, oh well. It's not. They're making it too complicated. It doesn't sound anything like that. It's only got 2 chords in it. I said, well, you're playing 7 chords or 8 chords or whatever.
But then again, I think of like jazz songs that I play with you, and songs that I play with the Gypsy Jam group. There are slightly different versions, even of old standards.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, or Autumn Leaves. And then sometimes if I'm studying a particular song, I get on the internet, on YouTube, and look how someone does it. And if there's 10 versions, 9 will be different. Just slight subtleties, it doesn't change the song that much, but it just subtle variations of the same song. As I say, particularly in jazz, not so much in rock and roll, but
no.
It's never a definitive answer unless you get the original sheet music. But then sometimes it's transposed from the.
I generally learn the basic chords and then change it all to jazz chords, or only if it sounds good. Not because I want to make it complicated, but if it sounds nice, and especially with ninths and sus4s and those augmented chords are beautiful. Oh, man.
I remember that playing with you and did variations of songs like I Remember You and some Beatles ones, and gave them a whole new life by rearranging them. With different tempos, different chords.
I remember John Maybe about having kittens. It's a Beatles song, that's not how it goes. But well, that's how I'm doing it.
Exactly. I mean, you're never going to do it the same as the Beatles anyway. So
you've done once, they did it already that way.
Even if they did it again, they'll probably do it differently.
Absolutely. Right, we've got a couple of tracks coming up now with now, what is it? Move It is the first one. And this was probably recorded at the Buckle, was it?
No, this was actually it was done in Pat Addison's studio.
Okay.
So it should be reasonably good recording.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll play it and let's see how we go. So coming up, and it's the Rockefellers with Move It.
Hopefully so.
Hopefully so. Here we go.
Well, come on, pretty baby, let's move it and groove it. Come on, shake it, baby, please don't lose it. It's a rhythm that gets into your heart and soul. Well, let me tell you, baby, it's called rock and roll. They say it's gonna die, but honey, please let's face it. We just don't know what's going to replace it. Baby, now your disco has got nothing on. Real country music that just drives along and move it, yeah. Move it and groove it. Come on and shake it, baby, please don't lose it. It's a rhythm that gets into your heart and soul. Well, let me tell you, baby, it's called rock and roll. You say it's gonna die, but honey, just let's face it. Know what's going to replace it all. Well, baby, now your disco has got nothing on. Real country music that just drives along. Come on and move it. Come on and move it. Come on and move it. Yeah, move it. You on a rainy night, steep grade up ahead, slow me down, making no time. I gotta keep rolling. Those windshield wipers slapping out of tempo, keeping perfect rhythm with the song on the radio. I gotta keep rolling. Oh, I'm driving my life away. I'm looking for a better way. Day for me, yeah. Well, the truck stop cutie coming on to me, tried to talk me into a ride, said I wouldn't be sorry, but she was just a baby. Hey, babe, hey, waitress, pour me another cup of coffee, pop me down, jack me up, turn me around and flying down the highway. I'm looking for the morning. Looking for a better way for me. Ooh, I'm driving my life away. I'm looking for a sunny day for me. Come on, let's go now.
Well, there you have it, mate.
Yes, the late great Robbie Douglas on lead guitar.
Yeah, man.
You on rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
I was on bass. Paddy on drums. Pat McKenna on lead vocals.
Yeah, amazing, eh?
The Rockefellers.
Unbelievable, mate. Yeah, that's it's just while we were listening to that track there, you were talking about Slim Dusty.
Yes, I think that part of the story I should really start when I joined Hamilton County. We didn't go into the details how I got in Hamilton County.
Yeah.
I was in the University of Canterbury Folk Music Club.
Yeah.
And within that, there's some guys that are keen on country music, like what they called old-timey country music, which is just guitar and banjo.
Yep.
And they had a mandolin player called Brian Egan, who was in Australia at the time. But when he came back, this guy Clive Collins formed a four-piece bluegrass band called the Stony Lonesome Boys.
Oh, yeah, I remember that name.
Yeah, it's the Stony Lonesome Boys. Actually recorded, played at the Banjo Pickers Convention. When I left to join Hamilton County, it became Stony Lonesome, and they did an LP with Phillips, so reasonably well known.
I think that's how I know, because I was working for Phillips then.
Ah, yeah.
That's right, Stony Lonesome. I remember it well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I got a letter from Paul Trenner saying, "Would you like to join Hamilton County Bluegrass Band?" I said, yeah, of course. I'll think about it. I've got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So I was a bit worried about it, because I thought, it could be difficult playing upright bass, but it turned out I ended up playing the bass guitar, because the upright bass, first of all, it needed a lot of work. Strings, lowering, all that sort of stuff. It wasn't amplified, so I played the Fender jazz bass.
Yeah.
And I joined in Milton, of all places, and that was at the end of a Joe Brown country tour. And there was John Hoare, as it was then, John Grinnell, Howard Morrison, Hogsnort Rupert.
All the
you name it.
Artists at that time.
Gray Bartlett was in the backing band. Oh, you name it, they were in it.
Yeah.
And Eddie Lowe went on and on.
Wow.
And then I joined in Milton. We went to an Invercargill. Then Joe said, "We'll do it again." Started in Kaitaia, toured the whole country again.
Wow.
Played in every town hall from Kaitaia to Invercargill. And at that stage, Hamilton County thought, well, what are we going to do now? We had a bit of work doing beach resorts like Whangamata, Otaki, Hungry Horse in Auckland, a few cabaret type gigs.
Yep.
But through the Country Touch TV program, which I really wasn't involved with, they'd got to know Tex Morton quite well. And Tex Morton was very well known right through the 40s and 50s. And Tex said, we'll take to Australia. So we all went to Australia. Because we had so much equipment, we didn't fly. In those days, to fly to Australia was pretty expensive, particularly with all the band gear. Yeah. So we joined the last leg of a tour, a cruise, a ship, the Queen Frederica from Chandra's Lines.
Wow, that must have been great.
Yeah, the last leg of the tour from Auckland to Sydney.
Yeah.
So we hopped on that for 3 days, and that was good fun.
Did you play at the time on the boat?
No, we didn't actually. It's funny, you know. We should have, but we just didn't have the contacts. But yeah, we should have. But anyway, got to Sydney. Got a flat, a house, shared a house, all stayed together, all lived together. And we did a few things with Tex, but it wasn't working too well. But as we'd been recording with EMI, we were invited to do some recording in Sydney, and we were going up the lift in the EMI recording studios of Sydney, and we bumped into Slim and Dusty. And the band had worked with Slim because he'd toured New Zealand, and Slim said, come and do some work with me. So we did some short tours with Slim.
Wow.
And then Slim wanted to show us Australia, so he organised this 3-month tour I was talking about before. There was Slim and Joy, his wife, playing bass, and Barry Thornton on lead guitar. And country shows in those days always had variety acts. Barry Thornton, the lead guitarist, juggled as a comedian. And we had Bill and Bobby Barron, who were nominally country singers, but because we had so many musicians, they had a very clever dog called Titch, so they ran the dog as a performing dog act. So I know we're getting a bit short of time, but
that's right, mate. More,
I could write a book, but what happened on that?
Slim Dusty's. Come and play with me for a while, mate. To all that.
And we played Mount Isa, Darwin, all sorts of places. Right. And we travelled in the car. Each couple, we had 3 married couples by then. Each couple had a car and a caravan. We had to buy the car, and Slim provided the caravan. Graham Lovejoy, the mandolin player, but he travelled with Barry Thornton in a big blue van, and Slim cruised around a big air-conditioned Ford Falcon.
Sounds like Slim.
And one time we were due to play at an Aboriginal mission. And Slim and Barry in the international van got lost. So Slim and Joy and half the Hamilton County band ended at the gig with short of a lead guitarist and a mandolin player. So Barry Thornton, who worked as a Canadian, he took on a different persona as Mulga Dan, the pest of the West. But seeing he wasn't there, they said, Milo, they used to call me, tonight you're going to be the comedian. So I took on the persona of Milo, the beast from the East. And because we'd done this show, as I said before, 6 nights a week for 3 months, we knew every gig, every line, every introduction off pat. And so we did these skits and jokes, and it went okay, but as I said, minus 2 musicians. And anyway, we got to Darwin, and I got heat stroke, and all sorts of funny things happened. But it was a great experience. Experience.
No, that's amazing. Not too many people were on that. We're sort of almost out of time, but I want to thank our sponsor, Dan Broughton. He's Wairarapa Web Design. He's the reason why we do this program. Miles, well, I thank you very much for coming in. It's great to catch up, and you're not only a great musician, but I consider you a good special friend as well. So it's good to have not only have one of your calibre on the program, but to have someone that I admire greatly as a musician as well. So thank you very much for coming on. We're going to go out on another track. It's actually one of my tracks. It's Kathmandu, which is the track I wrote with the whole band, and that'll be the Rockefellers again. Will it? I think so.
Probably pre-Rockefellers, but I think I'm playing bass on it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. Right, so thanks, listeners. We'll catch you next time round. We're going to go out on this track, Kathmandu, and go well, be nice to each other.
I don't want much, I just want a little bit. I don't want it all, I just want a little bit. I want a little bitty bit, I want a teeny weeny bit of your love. Turn the lights down low, come on and give me a kiss. Turn the lights down low, well I want more of this. I want a teeny weeny bit, I want a little bitty bit of your love. Well I love you forever, till the end of time. Well say you leave me never, and that but you'll always be mine. I want a teeny weeny bit, I want a little bitty bit of your love. All right.
Catch a cat in Kathmandu, put him in a cattleman stew, 'cause there'll be some for me and you, yeah, down in Kathmandu. I said catch a cat in Kathmandu, oh yeah, put him in a cattleman stew, 'cause there'll be some for me and you, yeah, down in Kathmandu. Well, there's a Quaker, oh, in Jamaica, real cool cat, ride, real shaker. God knows she's dancing. Barbara's make her back in Kathmandu. Sing it out, boy. Scoot, scoot, doo, scoot, doo, 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 scoot, doo, 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 doo. Shabba-dabba, shabba-da, shabba-dabba-da, do-do-do, skip-a-ba-ba-bam, skip-a-ba-bam, catch a cat in Kathmandu. Well, what? In a catman stew, 'cause there'll be some for me and you, yeah, down in Kathmandu. All right, boy. Skadoo